Good morning. My name is Margaret Meps Schulte, and I am the author of The Joyful Bear. And this is Frank Lloyd Bear. He is my co-author. Over the next couple of weeks, Frankie and I would like to offer you a video reading of The Joyful Bear. It's a fairly short book. Full length of the book is, a whopping 143 pages. But it's illustrated, so if we do this by video, we'll get to show you the pictures as we go along. We start out with a few photographs. These are pictures of Frank Lloyd Bear in his travels. The top one, he's on the sailboat known as the Northern Crow in the San Juan Islands. And the bottom one, he's visiting California. I like sunshine and birds, and I think life is good. Frank Lloyd Bear. Introduction: Why we wrote this book. The co-author of this book is a teddy bear. Frank Lloyd Bear, who is both wise and opinionated, believes that teddy bears are not just for kids. Adults can learn a lot from teddy bears. You can learn what it feels like to love and be loved unconditionally. You can learn to practice mindfulness. You can learn how to face life's challenges and overcome adversity by living in the present moment. Frank Lloyd Bear may not be able to type because his paws are too chubby, but he's no dummy. He is dedicated to making the world a better place, and he believes this stuff is important. Frankie's approach to life is simple. With gentle humor, he strips away what's unnecessary and looks for the truth. He doesn't need complexity. He doesn't even know what complexity is, and he's happier for it. How does someone who's only 10 inches tall and stuffed get a book published? Frank Lloyd Bear had a little help. His partner in crime, Margaret Meps Schulte, is the award-winning author of Strangers Have the Best Candy. The two of them have been together for over 20 years. In addition to living on land in houses and apartments, they've lived on sailboats. They've traveled together for months at a time, driving on the back roads of the U.S. and sleeping in a tent. They've talked to many strangers. Meps is a firm believer in the teddy bear philosophy she learned from the expert Frank Lloyd Bear. She was halfway through writing Strangers Have the Best Candy when she hit something much worse than garden variety writer's block. She fell into a deep, unshakable depression. At the time, living aboard a 33-foot sailboat, doing a refit in a remote area, Meps didn't have access to resources like therapists or even antidepressants. She turned to the one thing that had helped in the past, her kind, loving, understanding teddy bear. Eventually, after a few days, she brought her laptop into the tiny forward cabin, the little fiberglass cave that the two of them had claimed as their hideout. As she regained her equilibrium, she started writing again. She began working not on the book she had set aside, but on the one that I hold in my hands. After Frank Lloyd Bear helped her break through depression and writer's block, Meps wanted to share his quirky wisdom with the world. If you've ever had a bad day, this book is for you. If you've ever argued with a loved one or struggled with depression, anxiety, or writer's block, it's for you. If you've ever grieved, this book is for you. The Joyful Bear is a book for people who seek peace and happiness and contentment. It's for people looking for more joy in their lives. Frankie and Meps wrote it together, especially for you. So, here's the illustration for chapter 1, which shows Frankie sitting on his stack of books. Frankie's book, Frankie's other book, and Who Says Bears Can't Write? Chapter 1, Book. I am sitting on the edge of my bed, crying and holding my teddy bear, Frankie. He's a chubby white bear with big black eyes, and he is looking adoringly up at me, like he usually does when I hug him. The reason I'm crying is because I'm supposed to be writing a book, and I can't do it. That book is about how to talk to strangers. Right now, I am too depressed to talk to anyone in the whole world. I feel like a farce, a fake. If people knew what a loser I am, they would never read my book. I am not qualified to write it. Margaret, says Frank Lloyd Bear. I look down at him and sniffle. Yeah? I love you, and I think you should write a different book, he says. What's that, Frankie? You should write a book about how to talk to bears. You're completely qualified for that, you know. He nods his head somberly to emphasize his point. You mean write about you? I look down at his furry face, a face that I've loved and talked to for decades. Yup, me. Oh, Frankie, you are such a wise, amazing bear. We hug each other tightly as my tears continue to flow. When you are stuck or suffering, what kind of things can bring about a breakthrough? It doesn't have to be a talking teddy bear. It could be a loving dog or cat pushing a wet nose into your hand, reminding you that someone loves you unconditionally. It could be the sound of a bird singing, or the sight of a sunbeam slanting across the floor with a hint of rainbow colors along the edges, something natural to remind you that the world is still beautiful. It might be a phone call at the right time, or a text message, or someone smiling from across the room, or across the internet. It could be just about anything that enters the door of the senses and creeps past the dark mental roadblock holding you back. If you are paying attention, the breakthrough might not even come through one of your 5 senses: sight, hearing, touch, taste, or smell. It might come through the 6th one, your thoughts themselves. One small positive thought can breach the barrier and bring light to your darkness. This is the surprising power of mindfulness. Remember, in times of darkness, there will always be some sort of breakthrough, and there will be light again. Ups and downs are the pattern of life. So when you reach the bottom, you get to go back up again. Life is beautiful on a stormy night. Somewhere in the world, the sun is shining bright. Kebmo. That's it for chapter 1 in the introduction. Frankie and I are going to go have a great day. We hope you have a wonderful day too.